Hello, everyone. My name is Gary Varner, and this is Renegade Religion. This is our first show, our debut show today, and I just want to say that I am very excited, and I am looking forward to spending many a Saturday afternoon with you fine people. Now, for our debut show, I figured the best place to start, the best thing that we could do is talk for a little bit about what this show is going to cover, what this show is about. And I think if I were to give this show a mission statement, if you will, what I would say was that this show is about making you feel smart as a Christian. There is this kind of idea that's permeated society, and I don't know where it began. It could have began at the early 20th century. It could have been even before that. But the thing is, we have been conditioned to believe that Christians are inherently stupid and that we just go by faith and that we just kind of, believe this because we were raised in it. And that's not true. I mean, anybody who's studied the history of Christianity knows that's not true. Christianity has had some of the most prolific thinkers of our time. The scientists that changed the world, most commonly scientists like Isaac Newton, have literally, they've been Christians, and they've defined science as we know it today. So Christianity is not a religion of ignorance. It is not a religion in which you, quote unquote, and this is a bit of a cliche line, but this is not a religion where you just check your brain at the door. That's not what we do. We've never done that. But in the last 100 years or so, we've gotten that reputation. And it has gotten so bad that guys like Richard Dawkins, on the surface, appear to be wiping the floor with Christianity. And it's because apologetics, which for those of you who don't know, is the study of basically how to defend our faith. It's based off the word apologia, and that's what it means, how to defend your faith. The last real big theologian was C.S. Lewis, and that's been a while, early 20th century. For the most part, though, nobody's really been around to really try to defend the faith in the last 100 years. But recently, there has been a resurgence, and that's what this show is going to cover. Just the resurgence of apologetics, the resurgence of how to defend your faith, how to basically explain your ideas coherently, to give you, as the audience, confidence to go out there and tell people about Christ and do it in a way that is effective. Not just saying, well, we walk by faith and not by sight, and that being the end of it. Faith is a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. We need faith. Faith is the thing that kind of closes the gap between that what we know and what we're not sure about. There are times that we have to just take things by faith. Nobody's going to dispute that. But faith should not ever be an excuse to not defend your ideas. Faith is what we give to God. It's not something that we just give to other people as some kind of passive argument that is unfalsifiable so people will just be quiet and leave us alone. We have to learn to defend what we believe. Always. And that is what I want to show people how to do. And I want to make you feel, and I want it to be fun. I want you to have a good time. I want you to enjoy learning this stuff. This doesn't have to be drudgery. I don't want to teach you about Augustine and teach you about these ancient guys that once upon a time kind of had some ideas about the Catholic Church. And I'm not saying these guys are boring or you can't learn anything from them. They were brilliant thinkers. But when you start hearing about, these different ancient apologists, people's eyes kind of glaze over. I don't want this to be that. I want you to have fun doing it, but I want you to learn. And I want you to walk away from this feeling good about your Christianity, feeling good about why you believe what you believe. And that is going to delve us into a lot of very interesting things. Philosophy, the art of argumentation in and of itself, the nuances of apologetics. I mean, all sorts of stuff. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart. and I look forward to covering it with you guys. Now, the second thing that we're going to be covering is we're going to be covering current events, which is a little dicey. I don't want this to be a primarily political show. I have a political show, Renegade Religion, in which I talk about my political ideas, but I want to stay away from that a little bit unless I feel like it relates to Christianity and relates to, what we believe. Which brings me to our guest, and I am all sorts of excited to announce this. Dinesh D'Souza was kind enough to be our guest for our debut show, and he is advertising his book, The Big Lie, Exposing the Nazi Roots of the American Left. Now, I read this book. I was fascinated by it. It was counterproductive to everything that I had really been taught in school. When I was in college, I had a professor, and he discussed this. He actually got up onto the chalkboard or the marker board, and he drew a circle, and he put some arrows on the top and the bottom end of the circle. Then he put fascism on one end of the circle, and then communism on the other end of the circle, and then he put democracy in the middle. And he said, fascism is what happens when the right or conservatism goes too far, or religion, even Christianity as it were, or others, goes too far, and communism is on the left, where, as Dinesh D'Souza, the word he uses is bohemianism goes too far, communism, or not communism, we just said communism, but atheism goes too far. Basically, any typically modern, what we would associate as left today when it goes too far. And he said the goal of government was to make sure that we stayed in between these two extremes. And that was how he framed his entire class about political science. Well, I didn't have enough information at the time to argue with the guy, but that is why I am very thankful to have this book, and I am very glad Dinesh took the time to write it, and I am very glad that Dinesh D'Souza took the time to talk to us about it. And some of you might be wondering why it would be important or relevant to discuss Nazism or fascism in a Christian radio show. And I think the reason for this is very simple, and it's a theme that I want to spend the next couple radio shows talking about. It's the idea, it's the concept of what you believe determines how you behave. Somebody I used to listen to all the time used to say it constantly on his tapes. What you believe determines how you behave. Your worldview will determine, in a lot of ways, who you are as a person. Now, sometimes, I guess the reverse could be true. You choose a worldview because of who you are as a person, but more often than not, what you're taught and what you choose to believe has more to do with that than anything. And I think starting with, at the very least, understanding what fascism is, understanding what Nazism is, understanding the philosophers that brought these ideas up in their infancy until they were refined and turned into something else. I think understanding who those people are and what all that was, I think that's important. And so I think that is why it is absolutely crucial to study this topic, or to read books on this topic. And not to mention, in terms of the political climate today with Charlottesville and the reemergence of these terms anyway, it is absolutely vital that we study this stuff again, because the definitions are clearly getting muddied. Now, fascists, if you're a fascist or you're a Nazi or something like that, you're somebody who's basically a Republican, somebody who supports Trump. And that muddying of the waters is only going to get worse. And as Christians, I think it's important that we understand very clearly what we believe, and then understand very clearly what the other positions even are. It's like with any good debate. You always start off with defining your terms, and the person who can define their terms the most succinctly in the beginning is usually the person who has a better chance of winning in the end. So, when we come back, we will have my interview with Dinesh D'Souza. on Renegade Religion. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're about to hear a revolution in talk radio.
George Orwell, 1984, he had that perfectly. He hit the nail right on the head. We watch television, that's reality. When in fact, everyone seems to be afraid to take the red pill. Everyone takes the blue pill, everything is fine. And I have friends who think this way. Drives me nuts. I can never bring up any subject whatsoever. We keep it on to, what kind of cookie you want, chocolate chip or coconut. And that's about the only conversation we can have.
This isn't your typical talk radio show. This is Liberty. Liberty Talk Radio.
Part of Liberty Studios. Are you struggling with business? Let BMOC guide you along your journey. The BMOC Group is made of specialists who have spent years helping large corporations improve their cultures and efficiency. Now they want to help you. Watch their show, Executive Exchange, on BMOC Group's YouTube channel, or go to www.bmocgroup.com. BMOC Group is a part of Liberty Studios.
Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast or host your own show, but you don't know where to begin? Good news! Liberty Studios is opening its doors for you. Liberty Studios is now renting its space to eager people who have a message that they want to share with the world. So, if you have something to say but you aren't sure how to start saying it, let Liberty Studios help. For more information, call 417-342-9207. Again, that's 417-342-9207.
Well, sis, what do you think?
John, your home is beautiful. Hardwood floors, granite countertops, and that fireplace?
Do you like it? The reclaimed wood was my idea.
Your idea?
Yeah, Old School Construction customizes their homes. I also had them expand the pantry and the living room.
I've been looking for a new home, but I didn't just want another cookie-cutter house.
Sounds like Old School Construction can help.
Old School Construction. We build a place where life happens. For more information, call 918-809-2333 or visit us online at oldschoolconstruction.com. Again, that's 918-809-2333.
Do you find yourself asking, what did you say? Aaron Cristiano of Ranch Acres Audiology has over 25 years of experience helping patients just like you.
Hearing requires conservation. We need to be aware and we need to be responsible for our own hearing health.
Understand more with a little help from Ranch Acres Audiology. Call 918-749-7711. That's 918-749-7711 to learn more.
So, you love politics, but you're not always sure where your ideas line up. Well, don't worry about it. Listen to Renegade Reason, where if your ideas don't match ours, you're not one of them. Renegade Reason isn't unbiased. It's very biased. We're just not always sure where that bias lines up. But if you think you can handle unfiltered opinions, then you're more than welcome. Visit Renegade Reason on YouTube. Renegade Reason. It's okay to have an original thought. Renegade Reason is a part of Liberty Studios.
Hi there, I'm Jerry Varner, owner of Making Memories Tours. We're a Christian group tour operator that takes multiple trips across the U.S. and beyond. We do a variety of tours, including motor coach, international, and cruises. Our passion is providing folks with a fun, safe, and secure experience so they can make memories that last a lifetime. We also custom build tours for churches, clubs, or banks. Call me at 888-845-9582 to find out how we can be your group tour specialist. Again, that's 888-845-9582. Our upcoming tours in the 2018 catalog include the National Quartet Convention, the Ark Encounter and Creation Museum, a trip to Israel with an optional tour to Jordan, not to mention over 20 additional tours that range from 3 to 24 days. We're so excited to be introducing a Tulsa pickup point for our 2018 schedule. For more information, call us at 888-845-9582 or check us out on the web at makingmemoriestours.com. Again, that's 888-845-9582. Hope to hear from you soon.
Renegade Religion would like to take a moment to remind everyone that just believing in a God is not enough. James 2:19 says, "You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder." We believe that Jesus is the Son of the one true God and died for our sins. We need to submit our lives to Christ alone and strive to be like Him at all times.
At Our Key Custom Cabinets, we believe in Colossians 3:23, which says, "Whatever you do, do it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not human masters." Here at Our Key Custom Cabinets, we're celebrating 20 years striving to do just that, and we would like to do the same for you. We're located at 13191 Betty Road, Gravette, Arkansas, or you can call us at 479-787-5173. Again, that's 479-787-5173. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Many illnesses are caused by stress. At Reflexology Holistic Treatment Services, we help relieve pressure and foster overall health. Want to know more? Call 918-955-9937 or go to aareflexlife.com. Aware, alert, active Reflexology Holistic Treatment Services.
Okay, and we are back. So, without further ado, here's our interview with Dinesh D'Souza. Dinesh, thank you for coming on Renegade Religion. How are you today?
My pleasure. Glad to be on.
All right. Well, there was a few things when I read your book that I was really curious about. One of the things that's kind of always bothered me a little bit when we're talking about like fascism and Nazism and Hitler and everything like that is I always hear atheists say that Hitler was a Christian and Christians say Hitler was an atheist. And there's always this kind of back and forth. And so I just wanted to ask you kind of once and for all the beings, what was Hitler's relationship with Christianity and all of that?
Well, strictly speaking, Hitler was neither a Christian nor an atheist. Now, he despised Christianity. This fact is not immediately apparent because Hitler also knew that he couldn't rule a country without getting at least some support from the Protestants, Germany being a Protestant country, and of course the Catholics in Bavaria. And so Hitler at times would make political overtures aimed at bringing the churches under Nazi control. However, Hitler privately despised Christianity. We know this because of a series of extensive recordings that were made of Hitler's views, eventually published as a book titled Hitler's Table Talk. The recordings were made, the transcripts were made by Hitler's own private secretary, and they reveal his detailed thoughts about Christianity over many years. So Hitler, basically, his plan was to get rid of Christianity and replace it with some sort of a pagan Nordic type of religion based on ancient Germanic myths that he thought would be more compatible with Nazism than Christianity, which of course produced loyalty away from the state and toward the Christian God. So Hitler was anti-Christian.
Okay. I noticed that also that you referenced, I think it's Richard Weikart's book, Darwin, From Darwin to Hitler. Was Darwinism a big part of that in terms of not just Nazism, but like fascism as well? Or like what was that role?
Yes. Fascism, classically speaking, is more closely associated with Mussolini than with Hitler.
Okay.
Even though Hitler is commonly called a fascist, Hitler very rarely called himself a fascist. And conversely, Mussolini never identified with Hitler's Nazism or national. Those were a little different. Now, Hitler was clearly, his thought was imbued in social Darwinism. He essentially drew on the Darwinian concepts of survival of the fittest in order to justify his racism. So for Hitler, ultimately it was the strong sort of Germanic Nordic peoples who would survive and the weaker types who not only would but deserved to be wiped out. Hitler justified his conquests in Europe. He also justified his anti-Semitism, drawing on these sort of social Darwinian concepts. And Weikart does a really good job of documenting that. in his book, as do others. Stefan Kuhl, in his book called The Nazi Connection, also exposes Hitler's social Darwinism.
Okay. All right, now on Mussolini, I noticed there was a particular philosopher you referenced a lot, Gentile, and I was a little confused on what his relationship with Mussolini is. From what I understand, he started out kind of like being, I guess, allies of Mussolini, but then he was kind of disenchanted with fascism. Like, what happened there?
Well, Giovanni Gentile was one of the premier philosophers in Italy in the early 20th century. He was a student of Hegel and Henri Bergson, the French thinker, and he became the philosopher of fascism. Mussolini built a lot of his thought on Gentile's work. Mussolini himself was a genuine intellectual, different than Hitler, who was not. Now, Gentile basically was the philosopher of the centralized state. He described the state as a kind of living organism and human beings as cells within it. So each cell is unimportant. It has no value to itself. It has no rights. Its only value is what it contributes to the collective state. This you can see right here from Gentile, how the core of fascism is completely compatible with the left-wing doctrines of socialism, communism, statism, and incompatible with the conservative ideas of individual rights or limited government. Gentile was a philosopher, and he wanted fascism to be transmitted through education. Ultimately, he became Mussolini's education minister. He didn't approve of some of the strong-arm tactics of the fascists, some of the beating up of people, the bullying, the intimidation. Gentile wasn't on board with all of that. And so at times he broke away from fascism as a regime, although he stayed loyal to Mussolini pretty much to the end.
Okay. All right. Now, whenever you start talking about how the Democrats kind of shifted from fascism being kind of an idea on the left to the idea of the idea of the right, you mentioned the Frankfurt School. What exactly did they do? How did they start sending the message that fascism was actually a right-wing idea?
Well, all of this goes back to the end of World War II, when fascism and Nazism were completely discredited by their associations with the Holocaust. And essentially fascism became a toxic word. It wasn't a toxic word before that. In fact, there were all kinds of American progressives and left-wingers who adored fascism. The New Republic magazine, for example, was lionized Mussolini throughout the 20s and early 30s and would publish articles by Italian fascists who would talk about how fascism was the best way to achieve socialism. Now, as I say, after the war, all of this became taboo, and so the progressives had to kind of cover up the meaning of real fascism and kind of invent a fake fascism. And this is where the Frankfurt School came in. Guys like Theodor Adorno and Herbert Marcuse, who were actually Marxists. They had fled from Nazi Germany, but their goal was to sort of promote Marxist thinking in the United States. And so, targeting American capitalism, they came up with the kind of false definitions of fascism that are with us today. When you hear people say things like Trump is a fascist because he's an ultra-nationalist, or Trump is a fascist because he's an authoritarian, this is, I would call it, fake fascism. Why? Because, first of all, we've had authoritarians since the beginning of time. Obviously, those people weren't all fascists.
Right.
Second, nationalists come in all stripes and colors. Gandhi was a nationalist, as was Mandela. Most of the anti-colonial leaders were nationalists. Winston Churchill was a nationalist, as were Abraham Lincoln and the American founders. Now, obviously, all these people weren't fascists. So this is the work of the Frankfurt School, to create a false fascism, to deflect attention from the centralized state, which is the embodiment of true fascism.
Okay, now, this question's a little bit kind of off my notes, but I have to ask, how did it work? I mean, how did it take off? It seems to me like with conservatism being so deeply ingrained with individualism and things like that, how do they actually sell the idea? How do they get people to believe that something like fascism could even be on the right?
Well, the left was helped in this by a historical observation, which was, of course, in World War II, that the Soviet Union, the communists, were on one side, and the fascists, Italy and Germany, were on the other. So the left could easily say, well, look, if communism is left-wing, which we all know it is, fascism must be right-wing. Now, first of all, that's a fallacy, because sometimes ideologies that are very, very close theologically or ideologically still go to war. Consider the Shia and the Sunni in the Muslim world. Both are in the house of Islam. Their beliefs are almost identical, and yet they've been fighting for centuries. Why? Not just over 5 points of doctrine, but also over a contest for converts and a contest for territory and power. So the left was able to use the drama of World War II to create, if you will, a false notion of fascism and socialism as ideologically opposed at the core. The second point is that the left increasingly dominated academia, the media, Hollywood, the entertainment industry. So when you own these large megaphones of our culture, you can push out a lot of big lies. And even if somebody knows differently, like Dinesh, he needs to have his own big megaphone in order to be able to contradict it.
Right, okay. Okay, well, next question. I felt a little ignorant asking this, but what is bohemianism? Is it kind of the same thing as like hedonism, just kind of do as thy wilt shall be the whole of the law sort of thing? Is it the same vein, or is it something else?
No, bohemianism really refers to a whole lifestyle, not just sexual behavior, but a commitment to self-expression, to sort of avant-garde styles in art and music. Now, bohemianism really was invented in the 19th century in Europe. You could see it in places like the left bank of Paris or Greenwich Village in the 1920s. Bohemianism was for many, many decades on the margins of society. It didn't dominate the mainstream of culture. But in the 1960s, both in Europe and the United States, bohemianism sort of went mainstream. It became allied with things like the sexual revolution, movement for women's rights and gay rights. And today, bohemianism is a big part of our mainstream culture. And in fact, it is the culture that is promoted through the sort of organs of the culture, which is to say television, the movies, and so on.
Okay. Well, in that vein, something that really interested me was the fact that the brown shirts were actually, and a lot of the main guys were bohemian, and I guess the brown shirts were even kind of sexually depraved and had like orgies and stuff like that, yet Hitler didn't say anything. Like he just kind of went along with it until later on when the Holocaust happened and it wasn't no longer prudent for him to do that. So I guess my question is like, A, why did that happen? Why was he okay with it at one point and then kind of just changed his mind halfway through? And then B, is there something that can be said or applied to the Democrats today, kind of grabbing the homosexual community and just different demographics like that, or was it just kind of an isolated thing?
Well, here's the relevance of this. Part of the Frankfurt School's manipulation and big lie about fascism is that the fascists were sexually repressed, sort of moral and social conservatives. And you can see why the Frankfurt School big liars said that, because they wanted to essentially pin fascism on the Republican Party in the United States. So they said, Republicans are straight-laced, fascists are straight-laced, so fascists are Republicans. That's where they were going with this. Now, in reality, as they actually knew, because some of them had fled from Nazi Germany, the Nazis weren't like this at all. The Nazis were actually bohemians. Hitler himself was pretty bohemian. I mean, he had a mistress, Eva Braun, didn't marry her until one day before the two of them both committed suicide. Himmler was a notoriously perverted in many different ways. Goebbels had a series of mistresses. Mussolini was a notorious philanderer, kind of a Bill Clinton dimensions. Mm-hmm. And so these were what the Nazis were actually like. And so it's important to know that, just to debunk the notion that these were somehow straight-laced Mitt Romney types. They really weren't.
Okay. All right. Well, I was a little unclear on this. What is the relationship exactly between eugenics and fascism? Did it just kind of, eugenics just kind of piggyback off the movement, or what exactly happened there?
Now, there is no inherent connection between eugenics and fascism. Mussolini, for example, although he sometimes used social Darwinian rhetoric in a loose sense, was not a eugenicist per se. Now, the Nazis were, and the Nazis used eugenics in order to impose their own doctrines of racial supremacy. And so the whole concept of eugenics, which is, Margaret Sanger put it very well. She goes, more children from the fit and less from the unfit. This is the chief aim of birth control. Now think about this. This is so contradictory to all the Planned Parenthood propaganda that Margaret Sanger favored, all women having a choice. No, Margaret Sanger believed that certain women should have more kids and others should have less, and this should be achieved ideally by persuasion, but if not, by force.
Okay. All right. Well, I have one more question here. I will admit it's a little disorganized, but I wanted to kind of return back to the social Darwinism thing, and if like fascism, it relates to the democratic ideology at all, in the respect that kind of this survival of the fittest thing, or even in respect to abortion. I guess I'm a little unclear on what the relationship between all of that is. It seems to me like perhaps some of the same reasons these guys fought for social Darwinism back then is kind of the same reason today, but I don't know. I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, on the face of it, the Democrats have moved away from their old social Darwinist ideology because in the old days, their idea was, for example, to take poor, uneducated minorities, segregate them, to take the sick and the disabled, the mentally handicapped, what the Nazis called imbeciles, and kill them off. Now, today they don't try to do that, right? In fact, today what they do is they essentially try to dominate inner cities in order to harvest large numbers of votes.
Right.
And so these formerly, the people that they formerly used to consider useless people are now very useful for them at the ballot box. However, abortion is the sort of last and most telling remnant that the social Darwinist ideology lives on. And when I say abortion, I don't just even mean the availability of abortion. I mean the fact that the left has converted abortion into a sacrament. Now, my proof for this is simply this. The left says there's an abortion right in the Constitution. Now, there isn't, but let's grant them that there is. Let's just say, hypothetically, that there is an abortion right in the Constitution.
Right.
Now, notice that none of our other constitutional rights, our most basic constitutional rights, are funded by the government. So we have a right to free speech, but does the government buy us books? No. We have the right to freedom of religion, but does the government build churches? No. So the point is, you have to exercise these rights on your own time and with your own resources. But the fact that the left wants the government to pay for abortion, and they want people who hate abortion to be forced to pay for other people's abortions, this just shows that for them, abortion is more than a right. It's become a kind of dogma. And this, to me, is a kind of remnant of the old social Darwinist ideology, which is to say that people who are considered useless or disposable should be either killed off or, even better, prevented from being born.
Yeah. All right, guys, that was our interview with Dinesh D'Souza. We cannot thank him enough for coming on and helping us out with our debut show. That is, his book is The Big Lie, Exposing the Nazi Roots of the American Left. It is a great read, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what Dinesh said during the interview, what we can take away from it as Christians, what we have planned in the future, and then we will touch a little bit on what's going on in Houston, Texas. So, do not, I repeat, do not go away.
Ever wanted to start your own podcast or host your own show, but you don't know where to begin? Good news! Liberty Studios is opening its doors for you. Liberty Studios is now renting its space to eager people who have a message that they want to share with the world. So, if you have something to say but you aren't sure how to start saying it, let Liberty Studios help. For more information, call 417-342-9207. Again, that's 417-342-9207.
Are you struggling with business? Let BMOC guide you along your journey. The BMOC Group is made of specialists who have spent years helping large corporations improve their cultures and efficiency. Now they want to help you. Watch their show, Executive Exchange, on BMOC Group's YouTube channel, or go to www.bmocgroup.com. BMOC Group is a part of Liberty Studios.
Well, sis, what do you think?
John, your home is beautiful. Hardwood floors, granite countertops, and that fireplace?
Do you like it? The reclaimed wood was my idea.
Your idea?
Yeah, old school construction customizes their homes. I also had them expand the pantry and the living room.
I've been looking for a new home, but I didn't just want another cookie-cutter house.
Sounds like old school construction can help.
Old School Construction. We build a place where life happens. For more information, call 918-809-2333 or visit us online at oldschoolconstruction.com. Again, that's 918-809-2333.
Do you find yourself asking, what did you say? Aaron Cristiano of Ranch Acres Audiology has over 25 years of experience helping patients just like you.
Hearing requires conservation. We need to be aware and we need to be responsible for our own hearing health.
Understand more with a little help from Ranch Acres Audiology. Call 918-749-7711. That's 918-749-7711 to learn more.
So, you love politics, but you're not always sure where your ideas line up. Well, don't worry about it. Listen to Renegade Reason, where if your ideas don't match ours, you're not one of them. Renegade Reason isn't unbiased. It's very biased. We're just not always sure where that bias lines up. But if you think you can handle unfiltered opinions, then you're more than welcome. Visit Renegade Reason on YouTube. Renegade Reason. It's okay to have an original thought. Renegade Reason is a part of Liberty Studios.
Many illnesses are caused by stress. At Reflexology Holistic Treatment Services, we help relieve pressure and foster overall health. Want to know more? Call 918-955-9937 or go to aareflexlife.com. Aware, alert, active Reflexology Holistic Treatment Services. Renegade Religion would like to take a moment to remind everyone that just believing in a God is not enough. James 2:19 says, "You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. We believe that Jesus is the Son of the one true God and died for our sins. We need to submit our lives to Christ alone and strive to be like Him at all times."
Hi there, I'm Jerry Varner, owner of Making Memories Tours. We're a Christian group tour operator that takes multiple trips across the U.S. and beyond. We do a variety of tours, including motor coach, international, and cruises. Our passion is providing folks with a fun, safe, and secure experience so they can make memories that last a lifetime. We also custom build tours for churches, clubs, or banks. Call me at 888-845-9582 to find out how we can be your group tour specialist. Again, that's 888-845-9582. Our upcoming tours in the 2018 catalog include the National Quartet Convention, the Ark Encounter and Creation Museum, a trip to Israel with an optional tour to Jordan, not to mention over 20 additional tours that range from 3 to 24 days. We're so excited to be introducing a Tulsa pickup point for our 2018 schedule. For more information, call us at 888-845-9582 or check us out on the web at makingmemoriestours.com. Again, that's 888-845-9582. Hope to hear from you soon.
At Our Key Custom Cabinets, we believe in Colossians 3:23, which says, "Whatever you do, do it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not human masters." Here at Our Key Custom Cabinets, we're celebrating 20 years striving to do just that, and we would like to do the same for you. We're located at 13191 Betty Road, Gravette, Arkansas, or you can call us at 479-787-5173. Again, that's 479-787-5173. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
You're about to hear a revolution in talk radio.
George Orwell, 1984. He had that perfectly. He hit the nail right on the head. We watch television, that's reality. When in fact, everyone seems to be afraid to take the red pill. Everyone takes the blue pill, everything is fine. And I have friends who think this way. Drives me nuts. I can never bring up any subject whatsoever. We keep it on to, what kind of cookie you want, chocolate chip or coconut. And that's about the only conversation we can have.
This isn't your typical talk radio show. This is Liberty. Liberty Talk Radio.
Part of Liberty Studios.
All right, everyone, welcome back. So, let's talk a little bit about what we learned during the interview. I think the most interesting question, for me especially, is Hitler's relationship with Christianity. And this goes back to kind of what we're talking about today in terms of our culture. When I say that, I mean that definitions are getting muddied. One of the most complicated things about Hitler, or one of the most difficult things about Hitler, is trying to determine his religion. Was he a Christian? Was he an atheist? Was he something in between? And it's very hard to tell because the guy did a lot of baiting and switching in terms of his definitions, and he was always very murky. It's very difficult to peg him down on anything, and lots of very good books have been written on the subject. But I want to try to apply that to fascism as well, and what D'Souza is talking about, how this sleight of hand happened in terms of trying to peg fascism on the right. And the most interesting aspect to that conversation to me was the idea that they went out of their way to paint fascists as morally strict, even though there was absolutely no basis for that really at all. These guys pretty much accepted everything, and they didn't sell tolerance. They didn't sell live and let live in the same way our culture does. But they did kind of use different demographics and people who live different lifestyles to accomplish specific ends. And I find that very interesting. I find that's something that could be applied today. You know, as Christians, we're supposed to be the ones that are compassionate. But the people that indulge certain lifestyles on the political scope, they sell compassion, but they don't really have it. You know, if you disagree, regardless of what you think about homosexuality as a lifestyle, whether it's right or wrong or anything like that, at least as Christians, you believe that the behavior needs to stop because it's not good for you in general. You believe that even if you disagree with the person, you're trying to help them. There is a sympathy there. There is a compassion there. That's not the case with the current political climate. They grab demographics like the homosexual community and say, it's okay, we're your friend. We want to support you in all your endeavors. We want to help you get equal rights. And anybody who doesn't agree with you, anybody who doesn't support your lifestyle is a fascist and they hate you. Well, no, maybe they don't hate you. Maybe they disagree with what you're doing and they think there's a better way. And even though you can disagree, even though you disagree about whether or not that lifestyle is right or wrong, you still are trying to help that person be better at the end of the day. That's not the same thing as hating somebody. And that's certainly not the same thing as being afraid of anything that's different. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what we have planned for the future. Which, as an aside, first of all, I do want to do a few more episodes. Maybe not a few more episodes, at least one more. At least one more. On Hitler specifically, what his religion was, what his ideology was, what it was that he actually believed, if there's anything that can be applied today about that, and then I'll leave the subject alone. But I want to explore that, if for no other reason other than the basis of any debate, the basis of anything really is making sure that you have clear definitions for things, and when you're trying to understand people and ideologies, trying to make sure that what those positions are and what they mean is as clearly defined as possible. So we'll do one more on that. Now, plans for the future, or for the future. What we want to do is we want to try to get a PayPal set up or a Patreon account set up, and we'll be taking donations so we can try to grow and we can try to give merchandise for you guys, try to basically get this thing up and running a little bit stronger. We'll be having more information about that later on. Like I said, we'll be doing another show on Hitler, and then we'll probably be moving on to more apologetics-related stuff directly. I want to talk a little bit about the aspects of argument, how to argue effectively, not just, yell and scream at people. So that's another thing I'd like to do. There is one more thing I wanted to bring up with D'Souza's, with the interview with D'Souza. And I'll be honest, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going with this, but I do want to at least explore it. I was fascinated that he used, when we're talking about abortion, I was fascinated with the fact that he used the word sacrament, as if there's some sort of religious identity with abortion. I know that there's something there. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but there has to be something to that. For me, I think back to Moloch and when the Israelites worshipped that particular god and the way they sacrificed their children by basically, according to certain archaeologists, having their, basically putting the infant on these arms that were essentially on fire, and they would do that to honor their god or whatever. And that seems so depraved, and it is depraved. But I want to add this thought to it. What's worse? Worshipping a false god that tells you to set babies on fire, or killing a baby on a stainless steel table because the baby would be inconvenient. There's no conviction in it, it's just pragmatism. What's worse? Just food for thought. When we come back, we will be discussing the hurricane in Houston, Texas. There's a couple things I do want to say about it, and then we will wrap her up. So guys, thanks a lot. Please stay tuned.
Or host your own show, but you don't know where to begin? Good news! Liberty Studios is opening its doors for you. Liberty Studios is now renting its space to eager people who have a message that they want to share with the world. So, if you have something to say but you aren't sure how to start saying it, let Liberty Studios help. For more information, call 417-342-9207. Again, that's 417-342-9207.
Are you struggling with business? Let BMOC guide you along your journey. The BMOC Group is made of specialists who have spent years helping large corporations improve their cultures and efficiency. Now they want to help you. Watch their show, Executive Exchange, on BMOC Group's YouTube channel, or go to www.bmocgroup.com. BMOC Group is a part of Liberty Studios.
So, you love politics, but you're not always sure where your ideas line up. Well, don't worry about it. Listen to Renegade Reason, where if your ideas don't match ours, you're not one of them. Renegade Reason isn't unbiased. It's very biased. We're just not always sure where that bias lines up. But if you think you can handle unfiltered opinions, then you're more than welcome. Visit Renegade Reason on YouTube. Renegade Reason. It's okay to have an original thought. Renegade Reason is a part of Liberty Studios.
Renegade Religion would like to take a moment to remind everyone that just believing in a God is not enough. James 2:19 says, "You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder." We believe that Jesus is the Son of the one true God and died for our sins. We need need to submit our lives to Christ alone and strive to be like Him at all times.
Do you find yourself asking, what did you say? Aaron Cristiano of Ranch Acres Audiology has over 25 years of experience helping patients just like you.
Hearing requires conservation. We need to be aware and we need to be responsible for our own hearing health.
Understand more with a little help from Ranch Acres Audiology. Call 918-749-7711. That's 918-749-7711 to learn more.
At Our Key Custom Cabinets, we believe in Colossians 3:23, which says, whatever you do, do it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not human masters. Here at Our Key Custom Cabinets, we're celebrating 20 years striving to do just that, and we would like to do the same for you. We're located at 13191 Betty Road, Gravette, Arkansas, or you can call us at 479-787-5173. Again, that's 479-787-5173. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Many illnesses are caused by stress. At Reflexology Holistic Treatment Services, we help relieve pressure and foster overall health. Want to know more? Call 918-955-9937 or go to aareflexlife.com. Aware, alert, active, Reflexology Holistic Treatment Services.
Hi there, I'm Jerry Varner, owner of Making Memories Tours. We're a Christian group tour operator that takes multiple trips across the U.S. and beyond. We do a variety of tours, including motor coach, international, and cruises. Our passion is providing folks with a fun, safe, and secure experience so they can make memories that last a lifetime. We also custom build tours for churches, clubs, or banks. Call me at 888-845-9582 to find out how we can be your group tour specialist. Again, that's 888-845-9582. Our upcoming tours in the 2018 catalog include the National Quartet Convention, the Ark Encounter and Creation Museum, a trip to Israel with an optional tour to Jordan, not to mention over 20 additional tours that range from 3 to 24 days. We're so excited to be introducing a Tulsa pickup point for our 2018 schedule. For more information, call us at 888-845-9582 or check us out on the web at makingmemoriestours.com. Again, that's 888-845-9582. Hope to hear from you soon.
Well, sis, what do you think?
John, your home is beautiful. Hardwood floors, granite countertops, and that fireplace?
Do you like it? The reclaimed wood was my idea.
Your idea?
Yeah, Old School Construction customizes their homes. I also had them expand the pantry and the living room.
I've been looking for a new home, but I didn't just want another cookie-cutter house.
Sounds like Old School Construction can help.
Old School Construction. We build a place where life happens. For more information, call 918-809-2333 or visit us online at oldschoolconstruction.com. Again, that's 918-809-2333.
You're about to hear a revolution in talk radio.
George Orwell, 1984, he had that perfectly. He hit the nail right on the head. We watch television, that's reality. When in fact, everyone seems to be afraid to take the red pill. Everyone takes the blue pill, everything is fine. And I have friends who think this way. Drives me nuts. I can never bring up any subject whatsoever. We keep it on to, what kind of cookie you want, chocolate chip or coconut. And that's about the only conversation we can have.
This isn't your typical talk radio show. This is Liberty. Liberty Talk Radio.
Part of Liberty Studios.
All right, and we're back. We are back for one last segment. So we don't have a lot of time left, so I'm just going to jump right into it. There was a news story that I saw today that I felt really needed some attention, and I wanted to jump on this really quick. Joel Osteen, who is the Houston megachurch pastor accused of not sheltering Harvey victims. Houston pastor Joel Osteen is responding to widespread criticism on his megachurch's decision to not open its doors to the arena to flood victims seeking refuge from Hurricane Harvey. Olstein said Monday that his Lakewood church was prepared to house people once shelters reach capacity in a statement to ABC News, despite an earlier Facebook post from the church that insisted it was inaccessible due to severe flooding. Now, you can read the rest of the story at usatoday.com. It's there. I do want to make a comment. First of all, this is nonsense. It's just complete nonsense. They thought the church was going to flood. When they figured out the church wasn't going to flood, they scrambled and started taking people in. And the fact that he is being attacked, and just the very, in general, is just over something so simple and baseless, is just ridiculous. But it's not surprising. I mean, it's not surprising at all that this hurricane was going to be treated like a political issue sooner or later, or somebody was going to be attacked for being just evil sooner or later. That's what the media does. That's what they always do. It's not a surprise. But instead of focusing our attention on that, I wanted to end the show with basically some information to donate to disaster relief. If you feel so inclined, you feel like you can afford it, go ahead and text the Red Cross, or text Red Cross to 90999. If you do that, that'll give $10 to the Red Cross's Disaster Relief Fund. If you don't want to do that, call 1-800-HELP-NOW. That is 1-800-435-7669. Again, that's 1-800-435-7669. If you can, do so. Try to help them. And a lot of people already have. I mean, America, Texas, Oklahoma. I mean, everybody has stepped up to really to help these people out. And that's what we need to do. And that is the sort of thing we need to be focusing on, not these petty little gutter sniping attack ads that just spring up because people are bored and opportunistic. But with that being said, we're going to end our first show. Guys, thank you for sticking with me through this whole thing. I'm sure that there were a few hiccups along the way. I know they were, for a very personal fact, actually. But thank you for sticking with me anyway. And as things progress, we will get better. We will get faster. We will get more organized. And it's only moving up from here, the good Lord willing. So until next time, my name is Gary Varner. This is Renegade Religion. God willing, we'll see you again. Peace.